Do you have the review open?
I just did, but I have to open it back up.
All right. So let me know once you have it open. I'll see. Gabriella, you have the review open?
Yeah.
Got it open.
Khalees, you have the review open?
Yeah.
All right. Cindy, do you have the review open?
Yeah.
Marbly, you have the review open?
No.
All right. Do you know how to get it open?
I have to go to assignment, right?
Yeah. And Natalie, do you have the review open?
Yes.
All right, so we're waiting on Tiandra and Marbly.
It's the one that said topic 1 and 2?
Yes, topic 1 and 2 review.
I got it open now.
All right, so just waiting on Marbly, then we'll be ready to start. It's 21 questions. We're gonna do it like a question at a time and then go over it, but you know how to do it just in case you didn't get it right.
I'm already in.
All right, perfect. The test is a lot easier than like the homework assignments that we've had. So that should be like a relief. All right, so on number 1, I'm gonna give you all 2 minutes to work on it. It says select all the tables that represent a proportional relationship between X and Y. So I'll just give you a little hint. You have a hint on the quiz, but on the test. But the hint is you do Y divided by X for every single one on the table. But you don't have to look at 0, 0. You can look at all the other points and do Y divided by X. If you get the same answer for the whole table, it's proportional. If you don't get the same answer for the whole table, it's not proportional. So Y divided by X. And we got to work on our pace. So that's why I'm only giving us like 2 minutes, because this question shouldn't take like 5 minutes to do.
It's only allowing you to pick one answer.
You said what?
It's only allowing me to
I
pick one
finished.
So I need to
answer.
pick one. All right. I'll fix that.
It only.
Yeah. All right. Just remember what your other answer is, and I'll fix that. Give me a second. I'm sorry about that. All right, try refreshing it and it should work. I'm pretty sure that's the only one I made a mistake on. So if you all refresh the page, it should work. So let me try refreshing.
Still not ready.
Topic one. Come on. Still only doing one. All right. All right. Well, I'll tell you which one to put on there when we go over it, since there's two, but for some reason it's not saving. Dang. Man, now my internet's tripping. Gosh. Oh, sorry. Luckily, this is the only thing we have to do today, so it's all right if we lost some time. All right. All right, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so Cindy, what did you get for this one?
I got two answers, but I got A and
All right,
C.
that's correct. So for some reason, it won't let me adjust it, even though I adjusted on my end. So just put C. The A and C were correct. So the reason it was correct was because you do y divided by x. So on A, 2 divided by 1 is 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 6 divided by 3 is 2. All of them are the same. So A is correct. On B, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 16 divided by 4 is not 2. So we don't even need to check the rest. On C, 15 divided by 3 is 5, 30 divided by 6 is 5, 45 divided by 9 is 5. All of them are the same, so C is correct. And on D, 16 divided by 4 is 4, 36 divided by 6 is not 4. So D is not right. So the correct answers were A and C. So I know it's only letting you pick one. So I made a mistake last night. I try to fix it right now, but it's saying it won't fix. So just put C. All right. For our next question, we'll have 2 minutes to work on this one. So see if you can come up with what you're supposed to do. Ah, I see why now. All right. All right, there we go. All right. So our time's up, and I did fix it now. So if you refresh your page, now you'll be able to put A and C. So I'll give you all 30 more seconds to refresh your page. All right. Let's see if somebody says something. All right. So this in the interest of time, I'm going to go over this one again. I'm going to start having people explain their answers on future ones. But since we got a late start and we have some technical difficulties, I'm going to go through this one to save some time. So it's saying one Nike employee crafted 1,000 Jordans in 40 hours this week. A second Nike employee crafted for 10 hours this week, but crafted, should say Jordans. I'll fix that, but you won't have to refresh, at twice the hourly rate of the first employee. How many Jordans did the second, and didn't save that part. Second, it should say employee craft this week. So the way you do this is you have to find out how many Jordans the first employee crafted in a week for the hourly rate. So they did 1,000 at 40 hours. So to find out how much they did in 1 hour, you just do the top divided by the bottom. Because 40 divided by 40 is 1. So if you divide by 40 on the bottom, you gotta divide by 40 on the top. So when you do 1,000 divided by 40, you get 25. So that means employee 1 made 20 or crafted 25 Jordans in 1 hour. It says the second person crafted at twice the hourly rate. So now we got to go from 25 over 1. We're going to multiply that by 2 because twice means double. So that means they did 50 Jordans in 1 hour. So now that we know how much the second employee makes in 1 hour, we can do 10 hours now. So now we want there to be 10 hours instead of 1 hour. So how do you get from 1 to 10? Do times 10. So you got to do 50 times 10. And 50 times 10 is 500. So our answer to this question is going to be 500. Was anybody able to finish that question and get an answer?
I got 250 for 10 hours.
Yeah, I got 250, but I didn't get to multiply it by 2. Because it was like 2 times the hourly rate, and I was going to multiply it, but I didn't know if it was right.
Yeah, so if you didn't guess the hourly rate, then yes, 250 would have been correct. But we got to make sure we do the twice. So on your test, make sure whatever they tell you, if they say twice, make sure you, when you get the hourly rate, you multiply it by 2. So that's a good thing we did this review first, so that we don't make that mistake on the test. All right. Alrighty, so now we'll move on to the next one. So on this one, I'll give you all, I guess, 1 minute. So remember the equation you use is y equals, actually I'll give you 2 minutes. Mx or kx, y equals kx. So the y and the k, the y and the x stay the same, you gotta find out what the k is. And the k is obtained by doing the same thing we did on the other table, which was y divided by x. So you got to find a perfect point on your graph and then do the y divided by x, and that's your k. And obviously you're going to switch it to e and n instead of y and x. All right, so time's up. Did anybody think they got the answer?
I only did. So I got the perfect point, which is 4 and 750, and I put 750 on top and 4 on the bottom, and then I divided it by 4, and I got 187.41.
You said you got 187.41.
Point
Oh,
5
0.5.
over 1.
So then that's your k. That means your answer is y equals 187.5x. But since our specific question doesn't use y and x, they substituted y with e, and they substituted x with n. So it's e equals 187.5n. So make sure you have e equals 187.5n. Another perfect point you could have done, because if you didn't know that that was 750, you could have searched on the graph where it's a perfect point where it actually gives you the number over here and the number down here. So like this perfect point right here, it goes with 1500 for your y and 8 for your x. You do 1500 divided by 8, and it gives you the same thing, 187.5. So it's E equals 187.5 N. So whenever there's a graph that has a straight line that goes through the origin, you use this equation, y equals kx. So all you have to do is find the k, and the k is y divided by x. So all you gotta do is find a perfect point, do the y, divide it by the x, and then switch the k out with whatever your answer is, and then that's the answer. Y equals 187.5x. But remember, you got to use the right variables. But the test is going to be multiple choice. So since the test is multiple choice, it should be a little bit easier. But the reason I made the review not multiple choice is because I didn't want people to just guess. I wanted them to actually do the problems to get practice. Because it's okay if you get it wrong now. If we're going to get it wrong, we want to be wrong on the review. We don't want to be wrong on the test. All right. On number 4, we'll have a minute and a half. You're going to pick the 3 answers that are correct down below.
I finished.
All right.
I finished.
All right. All right, so that's our time. If you're not done, you can, I guess, try to keep working. But we got to work on our pace. But I have Gabriella share what she thinks it is.
All right, give me a minute. Well, I got B, C, and E.
All right, so let's see. You said B, C, and E. All right, so how did you get those?
Because when you look at 1 and then you look at the little line, it goes to 15, which is in the middle of 10 and 20. And when you look at the 4 on the X line, it goes to 60. And the point Q represents the money saved for 2 months because 15 times 2 equals 30.
Yes. So you got the right answers. Your explanation was pretty good. You just guessed that this was 15. It could have technically been like 14.9 or like 15.1. But the way to get exactly that is 15, since it's not a perfect point, you would find a perfect point like this one, and you do the y divided by x. So 30 divided by 2 is 15. That's how we know for sure that this is definitely $15 for 1 month.
I divided it.
Natalie, you said what?
Divided it, and then I found out what was for number one.
Yeah. What was your division problem?
So I put 30 on top and 2 on the bottom, and then I divided by 2, and I got 15 over one.
Right. So that's what I did also. Or if you pick this perfect point, you could have did 60 divided by 4, and you still get 15. That just confirms. But on the test, they're not going to trick you like that. So you could do the Gabriella way, and it'll still work. And then for Q, like you said, you knew 1 month was 15. So 15 times 2 is 30, and 2 matched up with 30. Or you could have just looked at the graph and saw, all right, the Q is at 2 months. So I know that that's correct. Did anybody get anything different? All right, no. So we'll move on to the next question. All right, this one's a little tricky. Like, it's really easy, but we haven't seen a problem written like this. I'm gonna give you all 1 minute, because you're either gonna probably guess and get it right, or you're gonna guess and get it wrong. So we don't wanna waste a lot of time. But once we go over it, you're gonna be like, oh, that's super easy. All right, does anybody wanna guess on what they think the expression would be? All right, so nobody wants to guess. All right, so the way you do this is really easy. It's x plus 0.50x. So when there's no number attached to a variable, what imaginary number is attached to it?
0.
Zero.
Not 0, it's 1. When there's no number attached, it's 1. It's telling us that it's 1x. So now that we know this is a 1, 1 plus 0.50 is 1.50. Or 1.5, they're both the same. X. So that's the expression. So that was the easy part. All you gotta do is 1 plus whatever this decimal is. So since it happens to be 0.50, 1 plus 0.50. Then it says, what does it mean? That means there's, you have to pay 50% extra. You just convert this decimal into a percentage. So the way you would write that is, but again, it's gonna be multiple choice. So you don't have to really worry about this. It's gonna be 1.5x and something along the lines of there is a 50% increase in the price if you pay on the day of the academy. So if your answer ended up being 1.7 or 1.70, that means it's a 70% increase. If you have like 1.07, that's a 7% increase. If it's 1.15, That means there's a 15% increase. So all you're doing is writing what the percent increase is. And you can get that by looking at the original decimal right here. Looking at the original decimal. So does anybody have any questions about that? All right, so we'll move on to the next question. So this one's very similar, except this time you're subtracting. You don't have to put an explanation. You just need to get the right expression. So this one we'll do 30 seconds for, because it's simple subtraction. Oh, well, Cindy got kicked out. All right, we'll go with let's see you guys on Khalees. Did you get this answer?
No.
Or what do you think you're supposed to do?
Can I help?
I don't know, but I think subtract. I don't know.
All right. On the other one, when it was x plus 0.50, we did 1 plus 0.50. So if you have t minus 0.22, if you had a guess, what do you think you're supposed to do?
Subtract the thing.
Yes.
The 22 from 1.
Yes, that's correct. So all you got to do is, because this is t minus 0.22 t, and we already went over t means 1t. So all you're doing is 1 minus 0.22. And what do you get when you do that?
0.21. T.
Not 0.21. Try your calculator.
21.
In the calculator, put 1 minus 0.22.
Can I help?
Sure, you can help her.
I got 21.78, and I estimated it to 21.9.
Well, that wasn't correct. This is a good try. But we do 1 minus 0.22.
Oh, I see what I did wrong. I put 22 minus 20, 22 minus 0.22.
Oh. So I'm glad you recognized where you went wrong. So it's 0.78. When you do 1 minus 0.22, it's 0.78. So that means our answer is 0.78 t. So all you all have to remember for that problem and the previous problem, when they give you the expression and they're telling you to add, you just do 1 plus the decimal. And then if it's subtraction, you do 1 minus the decimal. Because there's going to be 2 problems just like that on the test. It's not going to be 0.22 and it's not going to be 0.50. But it's the same concept. You're doing 1 plus the decimal or 1 minus the decimal.
So the 22% was at 0.22?
Yeah. When you convert 22% to a decimal, you move the decimal to the right 2 times, and it becomes 0.22. So that's where they got the 0.22 from. Are there any other questions? All right, we'll move on. Oops, this says her, it should say his. All right. So remember, this one's like the markup one. When you increase by 30%, so on this one, we'll do, all right, so basically they want you to write the equation like the previous two ones. So C plus or minus some type of 0 point something something C. So I'll give you all 30 seconds to figure out what it's supposed to be. It's going to be C plus or minus. So you decide what is going to be plus or minus 0 point something something C. Look at problem 5 and problem 6 if you need help on to solve that, because it's very similar to the equation they have in question 5 and question 6. All right, we'll go with Marbly. What do you think this is?
That one I didn't understand.
All right, well, I'm gonna help you get the answer. So I said you're supposed to do C
Okay.
plus or minus. So if it says they increase, you think that's adding or subtracting?
Adding?
Right? So C plus, and then 30% as a decimal. You know how to write that as a decimal?
No.
All right, so hold on real quick. So on this problem, they said 22% as a decimal was 0.22. So what do you think 30% as a decimal is?
You have to add the C.
All right, so we can put a 0. Yeah, point. If 22% is 0.22, what do you think 30% is? 0 point what?
0.30.
Yes, 0.30. And then I say just put the C. Just like here, they attach the 22% to the T because that was the variable. And here, they attach the 0.50 to the X because that's the variable. That's all you had to do here. Attach the 0.30 to the C because that's the variable. So our correct answer is C plus 0.3 C or 0.30 C. They're both the same thing. But again, on the test, it's going to be multiple choice. So it's going to be a little bit easier because then you'll see the answer and you'll see like some totally wrong answers, and this one will stand out to you because you're going to remember from the review. Does anybody have any questions about this?
Yeah. How did you get 0.3 if it's... Oh, never mind. I got it.
Yeah, because 0.3 and 0.30 are the same thing. But fine, we can put 0.30. It's the same thing. Oh, dang, I had a she in here again instead of a he. All right, I gotta fix that. All right. On this one, we'll have a minute and a half to solve. So a hint for this is sugar over water. Which equation? Oh, and then you gotta find the equation. So sugar over water will help you find your equation. And remember, our equation should be written in y equals kx format. Sugar is your y, water is your x. You just have to get this and change it to the k. All right. So the question says, Mr. Jabert uses 7 cups of sugar for every 3 cups of water to make a pitcher of Kool-Aid. Which equation should say he used to find the number of cups of water X needed if it should say he uses 28 cups of sugar? So the way you do this is, I told you you're using y equals kx. And we went over earlier that k is equal to the y over the x. So how did you know which one's y and which one's x? They tell you that the number of cups of water is x. So if water is the x, even though they don't tell you the sugar is the y, you should know the sugar is the y since the water is the x. That's where I got sugar over water from. This 28 right here is useless. It's just there to try to confuse you. All you need to do is look at the first sentence. So how many cups of sugar are there? 7. How many cups of water are there? 3. So that means our K is 7 over 3. So our correct answer is going to be y equals 7 over 3x. So that's all you got to do. Find out what the y is, find out what the x is, make it a fraction, and y equals the fraction connected to the x. But again, the test is going to be multiple choice. So the answer should stand out to you pretty easily if you study this review over the weekend.
But what about that 28 that says needed if you use it?
So this is the equation you would use if you wanted to find the answer. So the way you would use this equation to find that answer, 28 cups of sugar. So sugar is the y. So you would say 28 equals 7 over 3x. And then to find out what x is, you would multiply both sides by 3 to get rid of the 3, and then you would divide both sides by 7 to get rid of the 7. But you don't have to do that. They just wanted the master equation. The master equation is y equals 7 over 3x. Again, make sure you study, if you're not taking notes, like study the video that's going to be posted over the weekend, and you're going to do really well on the test, because the test is easier than this because it's multiple choice. So you'll get a little help because you'll be like, oh, that looks a little familiar to what we did. So our next one, same thing. We're using that same equation. Y equals kx. So on this one, they actually told you what the k is. You don't even need to find the k. They tell you what the k is. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to see if you can figure out what the equation is. It's y equals kx. And they tell you what the k is. Oh, I actually gave you too much time. So Cindy, do you know this answer?
No, I was kind of confused.
All right, so if I told you we're using the same equation, y equals kx, on all the other y equals kx's, did the y become a number or did it stay y? Cindy, are you still there? All right, Tiandra, are you there?
Yes.
All right, do you think you know the answer to this?
I had put 2.4 over 1.
So what would your equation be?
2.4 is y per week.
Oh, it's going to be y equals something x. So what is the k?
2.4.
Right, so that's the answer right there. Y equals 2.4x. So on this one, you didn't need to find the k. Like I was telling you all, they gave you the k in the problem. So all you got to do is just write y equals 2.4x. So on the test, you find the answer choice that says y equals whatever number is in the problem, x. Oh man, this one's a little bit longer. I'm just going to go over this one to save us some time. It says the recipe asks that the following 3 ingredients be mixed together as follows. Add 1/3 of a cup of Takis for every 1/2 of a cup of hot fries and every 1/5 of a cup of hot Cheetos. Which of the following rates are unit rates equivalent to the ratios shown above? Select all that apply. So on the first one, it's saying hot fries per Takis. So hot fries is going to go on top and Takis goes on the bottom. So for Takis, which is on the bottom, you had 1/3 of a cup. And hot fries on the top is saying 1/2. So to get the unit rate, you do the top divided by the bottom. So we got to do 1/2 divided by 1/3. And you keep the first fraction the same. Change the second fraction to, change the operation to multiplication and flip the second fraction so it's reciprocal. So 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. You have 3 over 2 is your answer. So 3 over 2 over 1. So the hot fries should be 3 over 2. But this says it is 1. So that means that this one is wrong. Let's see if there's any other ones where it says hot fries per Takis. Oh, there's no more for hot fries per Takis. So we can move on to our next scenario. Our next scenario is hot Cheetos per Takis. So this time it's going to be hot Cheetos over Takis. So our hot Cheetos and the problem is 1/5. So you got 1/5 over the Takis, which is 1/3. And remember, to get the unit rate, you just do the top divided by the bottom. So we're going to do 1/5 divided by 1/3. But when you divide fractions, keep the first fraction the same. Change division to multiplication and flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. So 3 over 1. So 1 times 3 is 3. And 5 times 1 is 5. So our answer is 3/5. So there's 3/5 hot Cheetos for every 1 Taki. Oh, 3/5 right here. So this one's good. So let's look at if there's any more hot Cheetos per Takis. No more hot Cheetos per Takis. So let's move on to the next one. The next one says hot Cheetos per hot fries. So hot Cheetos goes on top, hot fries goes on the bottom. The hot Cheetos is 1/5, and hot fries is 1/2. So again, to get a unit rate, you just do the top divided by the bottom. So 1/5 divided by 1/2. When you divide fractions, keep the first one the same. Change division to multiplication. And flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 5 times 1 is 5. We got 2/5. So that means there's 2/5 hot Cheetos for every 1 hot fry. So this says 3/5 hot Cheetos for every 1 hot fry. So this one's wrong. This one says 2/5 for every 1. So this one is correct. And then our last scenario is hot fries over hot Cheetos. So we got hot fries over hot Cheetos. So our hot fries, they tell us is 1/2. Our hot Cheetos is 1/5. So to get a unit rate, you just do the top divided by the bottom. So 1/2 divided by 1/5. When you divide fractions, you keep the first one the same. You change division to multiplication and flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. So 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. So you get 5 over 2. So 5 over 2 hot fries for every 1 hot Cheeto. But if you look down here, this is a mixed number, and we have an improper fraction. So we need to see if our improper fraction is that mixed number. So you do the numerator divided by the denominator. 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So that's your remainder. So the answer up here is the big number. the remainder is the numerator, and then whatever your original denominator was stays your denominator. So it's 2.5. Oh, and it looks like this one's correct because it's 2.5. That one was a little bit long, but all you're doing is setting up whatever comes before the per on top and whatever comes after the per on the bottom, and you just divide fractions. So you're going to have to do that in your test. So hopefully you know how to divide fractions. You keep the first fraction the same, change the operation to multiplication, and flip the second fraction to its reciprocal. So again, the video is going to be available to review. All right. All right, we're going to do this one together. We're going to have to do these together since we're like running out of time and I want to get through the whole thing. So Mr. Perez read 4/5 of a section of his Captain Underpants book in 1/3 of an hour. At this rate, how many sections of his Captain Underpants book can he read in an hour? So we got sections and hours. So Gabriella, is it going to be sections over hours, or is it going to be hours over sections? Well, save time. It's going to be sections over hours. How did I know that? I knew that because they said we want to know how much you can read in an hour. That means that's 1 hour. So that means we're finding the unit rate for hours. So that means we got 4/5 over 1/3. And to get the unit rate, all you do is the top divided by the bottom. So you got to do 4/5 divided by 1/3. So do 4/5, stays the same. Change division to multiplication, and flip the 1/3 to 3/1. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 5 times 1 is 5. So if you want to convert this to a mixed number, you got to do 12, which is the numerator, divided by the denominator, which is 5. 5 goes into 12 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. So 12 minus 10 is 2. So you got 2 and 2/5. So our answer will be 2 and 2/5 sections. On your test, you're going to put hours on the bottom and then whatever the other thing is on top. And then just divide the fractions. So if you know how to divide fractions, you'll be good. If you don't know how to divide fractions, you won't be good. So you should practice dividing fractions. All right. Next, Miss Jones went to the corner store and bought 3 3/4 pounds of pickled eggs for $12. What was the cost per pound of the pickled eggs? Round your answer to the nearest cent, if necessary. So it says cost per pound. So Natalie, what is it, cost over pounds or pounds over cost?
Pounds over cost.
It's whatever's before the per goes on top. So cost is right before the per, so cost goes on top. And pounds is right after the per, so pounds goes on the bottom. So it's going to be cost over pounds. So our cost is $12. And we have 3 3/4 on the bottom. Does anybody know what 3/4 is as a decimal?
12?
No, 3 times 4 is 12. But to get the decimal, you do 3 divided by 4.
0.0. No, 0.75.
Yeah, so 3/4 is 0.75. So if you have 3 and 3/4, that's 3.75. So you can just do 12 divided by 3.75. Because remember, to get the unit rate, or to get 1 pound, you just do the top divided by the bottom. So 12 divided by 3.75 is 3.2. And that's over 1. So 3.2 cost per 1 pound. So 3.2 in money is $3.20. That's the cost for 1 pound. All right, next up. This one says, Tariq is 18 years old and Zeke is 20 years old. Select all proportional relationships that have the same ratio to that of Tariq and Zeke. So on this, all you do is you do Tariq, because that's what they asked for first on top, and Zeke on the bottom. Then you do, in each answer choice, the first age on top, the second age on the bottom. And you cross multiply and see if you get the same answer. So what I mean by that is you 18 times 13 and 20 times 10. So 18 times 13 is 54. No, whoops, hold on, that's not right. 18 times 13 is 234. 20 times 10 is 200. So, Khalees, is 200 equal to 234?
What you said?
Is 200 equal to 234?
No.
That means this one's not right. For the next one, we got 18 over 20 equals 36 over 40. So you cross multiply. 18 times 40, that's 720. 20 times 36, that's 720. So Khalees, is 720 equal to 720?
Yes.
So then this one is correct. Next, we got 18 over 20 equals 9 over 10. So you just cross multiply. 18 times 10 is 180, and 20 times 9 is 180. So Khalees, is 180 equal to 180?
Yes, it is.
All right, so this one's correct. Next, we can do 18 over 20 equals 17 over 21. So you do 18 times 21, that's 378, and 20 times 17, that's 340. So Khalees, is 340 equal to 378?
Nope.
So that one's not correct. Next, we can do 18 over 20 equals 27 over 30. So you do 18 times 30, because you cross multiplying, that's 540. 20 times 27 is 540. So Khalees, is 540 equal to 540?
Yes.
This one's correct. And then the last one, both these people are 25. So 18 over 20 equals 25 over 25. So 18 times 25 is 450, and 20 times 25 is 500. So Khalees, is 450 equal to 500?
Nope.
So then this one is incorrect. So the right options were B, C, and D. So again, on this, all you do is do the two ages, top over bottom, first over second. and then make it equals to each answer choice, first over second, and then just cross multiply. If the answers are the same, it's correct. If the answers are not the same, it's not correct. All right, the money earned by Giorgio and Reina after X hours are represented on the graph, are represented by the graph and table shown. Which statement is true? Round to the nearest tenth if necessary. All right, so Giorgio makes twice as much money per hour as Reina. So let's see, how much does Giorgio make? Remember, to do this, you got to do y over x, which is y divided by x. So we go to our perfect point. We got 48 divided by 4. 48 divided by 4 is 12. So Giorgio makes $12 per hour. Then for Reina, you can pick any of these. The left side's always the x, the right side's always the y. So we'll just do 76 divided by 8. So 76 divided by 8 is 9.5. So that's really 9.50. So Giorgio does not make twice as much as Reina, because to get twice as much, you got to do 9.50 times 2, and that's 19. Giorgio only makes 12, so this one's wrong. Reina makes twice as much money per hour as Giorgio. That one's wrong because she doesn't even make as much as him. Giorgio makes 1.3 times as much per hour as Reina. So you got to do Reina times 1.3. So you got to do 9.5 times 1.3. And that gives us 12.35. So it looks like that one is incorrect. It looks like all these ones are incorrect because Reina doesn't make 1.3 times. So let's see, how did they get that? 12 divided by 9.5. Oh, it says round to the nearest tenth. So to actually get the answer, you got to do how much Giorgio makes divided by how much Reina makes. So 12 divided by 9.50. So you do 12 divided by 9.50, and that equals 1.26 something. And since it says round to the nearest tenth, when you do that, the 6 tells us that the 2 is going to move up to a 3. So it's going to be 1.3. So it looks like Giorgio does make 1.3 times as much as Reina. So to find out how much times somebody makes more than the other person, you got to do the person that makes more divided by the person that makes less. And that's why it's Giorgio and not Reina, because the answer goes with the one that makes more. So this would be an example of a multiple choice question like on the test. So clearly you can see they both, neither of them made twice as much. So that means it's going to come down to one of these ones. So to find out what it is, you just do the one that makes more divided by the one that makes less and check that the number is correct. And then the one that makes more is going to be the right answer. All right, what is the unit rate in meters per second? All you do is, like I've been saying, y over x, or y divided by x. So pick a perfect point. Oh, here's a perfect point. Well, this is not a good graph, but this is basically a perfect point right here. This is a perfect point. It doesn't look like it's a perfect point, but the one on the test will be better. So the y is 20 and the x is 10. So you just got to do 20 divided by 10. And what's 20 divided by 10?
2.
2.
2. So this answer is 2. So that's all you got to do on a question like this. They ask for unit rate. Take a perfect point and do the y divided by the x. And whatever the answer is, that's your unit rate. All right, on this one, the equation y equals, because we got 9 minutes left, so I'm trying to get through this. The equation y equals 0.45x can be used to find the price y in dollars of x pounds of ground beef at a particular supermarket. Each of the tables gives the prices of various pounds of ground beef at a different supermarket. Which of these tables represents a ground beef, represents ground beef that are more expensive than those represented by the equation? So more expensive means when you do, again, y over x or y divided by x, it needs to be bigger than 0.45. So let me look at B. On B, I could do 2 divided by 3. 2 divided by 3 is 0.67, or 0.6 repeating. So 0.66. That's bigger than 0.45, so B is correct. On C, 1 divided by 3, 0.33. 0.33 is less than 0.45, so that one's not correct. On D, 4 divided by 3. 4 divided by 3 is 1.33. So since there's a 1, that's obviously bigger than 0. So B and D are bigger. C is not bigger. So B would be correct, and D would be correct. C would not be correct. What is the equation of the line shown in the coordinate plane below? So on this one, we're no longer using y equals kx. On this one, we're doing y equals x plus b. So b is your y-intercept. So b is right here. So as you can see, that's 3. So we got y equals mx plus 3, but we need to change m to a number. M is the same thing as k. You do y over x. Or you could do rise over run. So we'll just do y over x to save time. So we pick a perfect point. So here's a perfect point right here. It looks like our y is 5 and our x is 1. So we got 5 divided by 1. So what's 5 divided by 1? 5.
5.
So that means our m is 5. So y equals 5x plus 3. Oh, hold up. That's not correct. Y divided by x. Oh, that my bad. That only works. I apologize. I went too fast. That only works when the line goes through 0. So since our line does not go through 0, we have to use the other formula, which is rise over run. So if you start at this point, you rise 1, 2. So our rise is going to be 2. And then you run 1. So our run is going to be 1. So our slope is actually 2 over 1, which is equal to 2. I apologize for going too fast. So y equals 2x plus 3. All right, Miss Tyler has a summer job working at a Barnes & Noble. the graph shows the relationship between the number of books Ms. Tyler sold and the amount of money in dollars that Ms. Tyler earned. Select the equation that represents the amount of money M in dollars that Ms. Tyler earned by selling B books. So on this one, all of the answer choices are going to be in Y equals KX format. So whenever you have Y equals KX, that means you can just do Y over X. So if we pick a perfect point, here's a perfect point right here. You can do 5 over 1. And like you all told me, 5 divided by 1 is 5. So our answer would be Y equals 5X. However, they told you that the Y is actually M. So it's going to be M. And the X is actually B for books. So it'd be M equals 5B. But again, it's going to be multiple choice. So basically, they're going to have all the same letters. You just got to find the correct slope, which is 5. On this one, which equation models the relationship between the number of seconds, X, and the number of milliliters, Y? So again, this one's going to be Y equals mx plus b. And remember, b is our y-intercept, and our y-intercept right here happens to be 100. So you have y equals mx plus 100, but we need to change that m to a number. So we got to do rise over run. So rise over run. So you go up 50. I know it looks like you're going up 1, but these are counting by 50s. So your rise is 50. And then your run, you go over 1. And since this is going by ones, it's going to be 1. You got 50 over 1, which is equal to 50. So this is going to be y equals 50x plus 100. Again, I know I'm going fast, but that's why I'm going to upload the video, so you can review the video and like slow it down over the weekend. 2 questions left. All right, Miss Mitter wants to go to the Baby concert coming up. The original price of the ticket is $70, but with taxes and fees, the price goes up to $105. Find the percent increase on the ticket. All right. So on that, you do new minus old divided by old. So that means we got the price went up to 105. So 105 minus the old price, which is 70, divided by 70. And 105 minus 70 is 35. So you have 35 over 70. So you just do the top divided by the bottom. And 35 divided by 70 is equal to 0.5. And when you want to convert 0.5 to a percentage, you just move the decimal point 2 times to the right. So 1, 2. And fill that spot with a 0. So that is equal to 50%. So remember, new minus old divided by old. And then do the division problem, and then multiply your decimal by 100, or move the decimal 2 times to the right to get your percent. So this one's going to be 50%. All right. And then our last question. This is what we went over last class. Ms. Farkas borrowed $2,000 from the bank at a rate of 2% simple interest per year. How much interest did she pay in 5 years? On this one, you got to use the I equals PRT. The P equals 2,000. The R equals 2%, which equals 0.02. And the years for the time is 5. So you do I equals 2,000 times 0.02 times 5. And 2,000 times 0.02 times 5 is 200. So the answer is going to be $200. Again, sorry we had to speed up, but the questions are going to be very similar to these 21 questions. So if you can, I know you probably don't want to, but if you just review this video over the weekend, you'll do pretty well on your tests. Study what we did, how we got the answers. And that's it.